What's up with y'all? Hope y'all having a good Friday. Hope y'all getting ready to slide into the weekend. You know, the weekend looks promising. Unfortunately, where I'm at right now, it's raining right now. So, you know, I'm waiting for the sun to come back outside right now. But nonetheless, you know, I caught up on some of these good Friday deals right here. We're going to be doing some weed reviews coming up here shortly. You know what I mean? We're going to put the Arizona gas to the test. And I'm gonna get behind that driver's seat right there and I'm gonna press that pedal for y'all one time and tell you what I think about it. But so today's video gonna be a little bit like story time. I'm gonna take y'all back to when I was incarcerated in 2008, 2009 at the Kit Carson Correctional Facility. And, you know, nothing against anybody that's gay, homosexual, whatever that is. You know, me, I'm from the old school. I like women and women only and women that came out of the womb a woman. You feel me? I'm not into the new school, you know, all anything go type of thing. That ain't my style. But if that's you do behind closed doors, peace to you. You feel me? So nonetheless, the story goes back to 2008, 2009. I was in Kit Carson Correctional Facility. I was working in the kitchen around that time as a diet cook. And this was a prestigious job in the kitchen to a degree because it gave you a gang of access to all kinds of, you know, food and, you know, being able to cook your own stuff and, you know, if you a little sugar and spice and all the shit that's nice in the kitchen back there, you know what I mean? Access to the COs, the whole nine. But job wasn't for everybody. You had to come in early. But one of the perks to having that job was the people who came through A&O usually would come through the chow hall, and I'd be able to see people before they actually got to the units and so forth. And I don't know, Colorado, especially, you know, certain hoods and certain gangs and shit like that, like it's small, but you know, they got a gang of prisons. So, I mean, you can go all over. But by this time, I'd already been down a few years, like maybe like 2008, 2009. I got locked up in 2003. So, like, I'd have been down for like 5-6 years, somewhere in that ballpark by then. And, man, I seen my partner that was like a big homie. You know what I mean? He was an OG from my brother's hood that I'd be around all the time. And, you know, when I was younger, he gave me a definition of being a gangster, though. You feel me? He gave me the definition of living every day like your last. You know what I mean? Like they was with the shit. They was doing some shit that I can't even speak on here. You know what I mean? No matter how much time has went by. But you know, these were my first experiences of running into what a gangster was. You know what I mean? So when I look at gang banging today and I look back at it, what it was like then, and that would have been like the, you know, second, third probably generation to a degree, because his hood and a lot of hoods like his left California for whatever reasons. You know, maybe they family was trying to get them away from gang banging, maybe they did some dirt out there, I don't know. But you know, there was a big in the 90s, and this is the early 90s, there was a big migration of you know, gang members coming out to Denver, Colorado. And you know, ultimately, long story short, you know, when I was out there, you know, I thought this was, you know, and he only like 3-4 years, 5 years maybe older than me at the time, but you know, they gave me the understanding to what being a gangster was. So, you know, I always looked at gang banging different, because for me personally, I've always had an issue with authority, whether it was, you know, my mom, whether it was the school, whether it was police, authority, whatever it was. So when it came to me having like big homies and OGs, like it's a reason why I never got quoted, because I wasn't something I wanted to, I didn't want to be taking orders from nobody, let alone cats that's like my age, my peers, you feel me? But you don't get me wrong, I was always around though, you feel me? My bro, who was like my brother from my another mother, like we was always together. So I watched him get quoted, and when I watched him get quoted, you know, they didn't spare him nothing. They did him at 12 years old, like you would do a grown man in his 20s. You feel me? And this is 3-4 people putting him on the hood though, and that shit wasn't for me. I didn't even quotes. I ain't gonna front. Quote session scared me back then. I ain't gonna lie to you at that young age. But you know what I mean? End of the day, you know, I always would be around. So like, his big homies would always try to big homie me, and they would to a degree. And to a degree, I always do appreciate that they looked out for your boy. They gave me some game that I could use, and I was able to navigate and never make decisions that would smut my name or that was out of bounds of what should be done. You feel me? But long story short, yeah, I'm in the penitentiary. I'm already in there. 2008, 2009. I'm at Kit Carson Correctional Facility. I've been down for like 6 years or so. This is a private prison. And I'm working in the kitchen. I'm a diet cook. And there's another cat that's been at the facility for a long time. His name is George. Now, George has been in the facility for a minute. Big, swole fool, bald-headed fool, big motherfucker. Been there for a minute. I'm working in the kitchen as a diet cook on the morning shift. And I cut off like right before the lunch shift. And he worked on the lunch shift into the night shift. So we worked on 2 different shifts. The thing about George is George messed with the punks. Everybody knew George messed with the punks. And in there, if you mess with the punks, if you mess with the boys, like there's no sneaky hiding around, none of that stuff. That don't work in the penitentiary. I mean, you're in a small world by itself, but he didn't care. Didn't nobody press him about it. I mean, big swole dude. And at the end of the day, you know what cats do behind closed doors unless they affiliated with an organization, you know, that really nobody business. Surely ain't my business, but I knew how he got down. It is what it is. I didn't have to work too close with him, and you know, we just talking passing and have little things left, you know, for the next meal or whatever. So long story short, as a diet cook, I used to see everybody that would come through A&O because they allowed A&O to come through the chow hall rather than just feeding the meals to somebody through a slot like most A&Os do, or keep you there for a couple of days. So my partner, my bro's OG, who would have been like my OG to a degree, he pulled up. I ain't seen this cat in a long time. But, you know, I know he's with the shit. You know, this cat tatted the whole 9, got a nice little size to him and shit. And, you know, seen him through A&O, let him know where I was at. I was in the newer part of the facility. And he was getting transferred to C unit, the same unit that George was in. Now, the unit that George lived in, there was a punk that lived in there too. I'm sure there was probably more than one punk, but there was a punk that George was messing with or something that was already in the unit. Now, my partner get out of A&O, he go to the unit, and he ended up getting a job in the kitchen as well. And he's working on the same shift George is working on. And I start hearing rumors throughout the kitchen because, you know, cats in the kitchen, they always talk, you know, like, you know, you're in the kitchen, you got to go to work for like 6 to 7 hours. So, you know, you have a lot of downtime in the kitchen where, you know, people just sit around at the tables and they bullshit and they chop it up. And, you know, I start hearing that my partner, he in there getting his feet rubbed on while he at work by the punk. And this is crazy to me because, you know, a cat of his stature, like, they're not going to just make up no rumors like that, you know what I mean? Because, you know, he's with the shit. He gonna bust some ass behind somebody saying something like that. You feel me? So, long story short, you know, it's perplexing to me. That's all I can say is it's perplexing to me to hear this. So, by this time, my partner, he work in C unit. He live in C unit. So, the only time we really see each other is like sometimes we'll get some workouts in when we go to the gym. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, he had got moved into my unit there for a little minute. And that's how he was going to the gym. And at one point in time, he wanted me to move into it. And I was thinking about it because, you know, he's the homie. I know you from the streets and shit. But, like, you know, he would be messing with the Crip card too tough. You feel me? Like, I don't know, you know, and I didn't want to have the cell hot like that. I always like having good, cool cellies that didn't make the spot hot. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I had a couple homies that I go kick it by they cell and they cell was hot, but I never wanted my spot to be like that. So thankfully that never worked out. We never moved in. I lived upstairs, he lived downstairs. But yeah, I'm back. I hear the rumors about this shit. So, you know, I asked him about this shit. And he tell me that this shit's not true. That, you know, like, who said that type of shit? And, you know, I'm not about to just sit here and put names on some shit like that. I was just like, man, I've been hearing that shit, and I know he couldn't. It ain't no way that he ain't. You couldn't have, I'm the only one coming to you about that type of shit. No way. You under an organization. So, I mean, like, literally, I'm sure they've hollered at you at some point, even though you was a G from your hood, like, they done hollered at you. But nonetheless, you know, he tell me the shit ain't legit. He's not. But like a couple of days or a week or something go into it. And the reason I brought up Big George, because him and Big George start getting into it over the punk. Now there's no denying it at all. And, you know, when I asked him about it another time, you know, he just told me it is what it is. And he had females on the street. I even think he had a female coming up there to visit him. And that's how it be behind them walls right there. You know what I mean? A cat can have kids on the street, have a female, whatever it may be, but they be back there behind the walls knocking them boys down. And it be a man. It be a man that they fighting over. They fighting over a man that got some extra tight state issue green pants on and some Kool-Aid and walks with a switch. Is another man. But what I learned from doing time and being incarcerated is that, the cats that do it, mess with them boys behind the walls, that people will be like, oh, well, the punk turned the homie out. Nah, the punk ain't never turned the homie out. The punk just turned the homie on to some shit that he was probably already on to or already was curious about on the streets. And now it's accessible. And a lot of cats back there, you got to think they may never be going home, or they got a gang of time, or, whatever it may be. And they just freaks. They just want to hit that big O. You know what I mean? They just want to bust one real quick. And however they got to bust it, they finna do it. And the cold kicker is, while you locked up, I mean, you really ain't got too many options. I mean, what is you going to do? And I'm not saying, that's ever an option by no means, and not for a cat of my pedigree. But hey, I ain't gonna front. I done had to take care of myself, and man, I done made fifis and all kinds of little things. You know what I mean? I done knocked a fifi right there and took me to the next level. That done had me standing up on my toes. You feel me? Like, hey, the fifi ain't no joke. But I mean, damn, for me, I was away from civilization for 11 and a half years. You feel me? So all I'm looking at is King magazines. When I first got locked up too, porno magazines were still in there. They had the Buttmans, they had the Playboys, they had hardcore magazines in there. And about a year after I had been in there, they banned them all from them, and then they became, like people would rip out pages of these things, and you'd have to pay for a page of porno though. You know what I mean? A couple pages of porno might run you like $5 back then, a couple shots of coffee, you feel me? But, a lot of cats back there ain't got the discipline, or they already turned on to some weird shit already. So that's why they mess with those punks back there. But yeah, for me, that was never an option. I kept my distance from them cats a million miles and running. But my partner, which was like a big homie, it was perplexing me to find this out and see that he fighting out of all people over the punk. You know what I mean? And it's a terrible look. And what's even funnier is, when I asked him the second time about it and we went and talked about it, he told me, it is what it is, and so forth, so forth. Not too long after that, I was coming back from chow one night, and, I lived in a three pod unit. So when you walk into the unit, like it was E unit, right? There would be EA, EB, and EC over here. At the time, I was living in EC, and there was another young cat that lived in EB who was like, was going to get quoted to the hood. They were going to put him on the hood that my partner's from. Young cat, and he was hella cool. We used to chop it up all the time, hella cool. I walked back from chow, and I push in my cell, and he pops in my cell behind me. He's like, hey, so-and-so told me to come over here and get down with you, but bro, me and you was way too cool, and I just wanted to put you up on game that he wanted me to come up in here. And I was like, nah. So I was like, that's crazy as shit right there. Like, I don't know what you done felt. I don't know if I came across him. But at this time, you got to remember, like, I'm not your little homie no more to that degree no more. You know what I mean? I've been incarcerated, riding solo for, 6 years already, and I'm grown by then. You feel me? Can't tell me shit too much at that point in time. And, I went and hollered at my partner after that, because we lived in the same unit. And there was like a little jungle gym in the middle of the unit with the pull-up bar and a dip bar and shit. And I'm like, bro, what's up with that? That's crazy as hell. If there's an issue, you know what I mean, between anything we got going, I'm right here with you. Holler at me about it. And he just looked me in my eyes. And he used to have like, I don't know, he had like Big Sad resemble him. If y'all know who Big Sad 1900 is, he resembled this cat that I'm talking to, and motherfucking, he had a gesture in his face, and he just smiled at me and laughed at me and turned around and walked back and went to his cell. And it wasn't like I punked him or nothing, but it was like, you know what I mean? Like, he just laughed at me. He thought I was a joke. I left it at that though. You feel me? Like, there ain't nothing more to say about it, and I surely ain't the young cat that you about to quote. Like, I'm good with him though. Like, we cool. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna, but I don't know. I know he ended up getting quoted at some point in time, but I forget what happens. They was fighting over the punk. I feel like we just stopped associating, but he ended up getting transferred and going to another facility, or I did, or some shit like that. And ultimately, I heard, and I don't know if it's true, I hope it's not true. I heard that he had got killed not that long ago, but he gave me the definition of what a gangster was, though. When I was a young kid, that a gangster lives every day like his last. That's the way a gangster lives. You know what I mean? He ain't out here, just constantly being pretty boyed up and so forth. I mean, that's cool and everything, but like a gangster's willing to put it all on the line as soon as he come across the enemy, or as soon as he see a lick, he gonna hit that shit. There ain't like we finna move like this, and I'm thankful to a degree that I came up under a pedigree that was really real to a degree, but it's mind-boggling, perplexing, and a real eye-opener when you see something like that, like somebody you looked up to as a big homie. You see the faults in them, or you see that they ain't real. It's like finding out Santa Claus ain't real no more. And that's how I be looking at the streets, period, nowadays. You feel me? Like this shit is a myth to the highest level of mythology, because nobody is adhering to these codes, and the people who do adhere to the codes, they are the biggest losers in the whole spectrum of life. And it trips me out, because a lot of people that don't come from a gang culture or understand gang culture, they don't care about none of this stuff. You feel me? Like their life is good. They go about life. They don't ever be tripping on 99.9 stuff of that cats from a gang culture trip on. But yet we've bought into this culture, this gang culture. We bought into this belief that the streets and keeping it real and keeping it gangster and all this type of shit. But like literally that shit is all Hollywood, smoke and mirrors, and the people that have lived and died for that, their honor and glory really ain't there no more, because you can't use street cred or penitentiary cred in this world out here. You can't go get a crib. You can't go get a loan. You can't go get a car. You walk into a dealership, they're not running to you because they know that you did 10 years in ad seg, and you got stripes for the hood. They don't care about that. It actually is the reverse. It actually works against you. You know how long, I have violent felonies. You know how long they stick on even though they're not supposed to see them after 10 years, they're still there. They still paint a picture of who I was as a kid, as a 20-year-old kid, for the rest of my life on the black and white paper for those bad decisions I made. So, a reason why I make these videos, even speak on this or breathe life onto any of these topics right here, is that this falls on the right ears of somebody that's out there moving in a way that they need to tighten up. Young cat, tighten up. Don't make that decision. Don't go down that path. If you hear anything that can be an eye opener, let you hear it now, because the decisions I made cost me and my family a whole lot, and still do to this day. But the reality is, you get behind them walls, that's what goes down. People mess with the punks. They do scandalous shit. They rob, kill, they steal. I was at one facility and cats was just bored, going door to door, just fading whoever lived in that cell, running through their boxes and going on to the next one, running it back. Cats got life sentences, don't give a fuck. They bored, there ain't nothing else to do. You know what I mean? Like, it gets real gritty. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all ever experienced this? Y'all ever had a homeboy who came out the closet and what? Shit's crazy as hell to me. Tell me what y'all think. But I appreciate everybody once again for tapping in with the content. I'm looking for more subject matter. You got an idea, drop it in the comment. If you made it this far in the video though, this far to the end, hit your boy with that like so I can get in this algorithm and get some motion with it. I greatly appreciate y'all. But to the next one, it's your boy, I'm out.